I welcome you all to the video tutorial series of the operating system. I am your instructor Varsha Talk. Let's start our today's lecture. So at the end of this video, you will be able to learn about conditions that lead to deadlock, types of resources, and at last we will see the resource allocation graph. So let's start. So first of all, our topic is the condition that leads to deadlock, or we can say the necessary conditions for occurrence of deadlock. So which are those conditions? Let's see. So there are four total conditions is that. One is the mutual exclusion, then hold and wait, then no preemption, and then circular wait. So if either of those conditions be present in the system, then we can say that there is a deadlock in the system. Okay, so let's have a brief description of it, then we will see it in detail. So first of all, mutual exclusion. That means what? At least one unshareable resource, that means the process claim exclusive control of the resource they need. Okay, so if at least one shareable resource is there, then mutual exclusion should be there. Okay, then next is the hold and wait. That means process holds the resources while waiting for the others. For example, process P1 is holding the resource R1 and it requires the resource R2. So it will not release the resource R1 and it is waiting for the resource R2. So that is what the hold and wait. Then next is the no preemption. That means resource is only released voluntarily. That means no interruption is possible. For example, you cannot forcefully take away the resources from the processes. So that is the no preemption. Then next is circular wait. Circular that wait, that means what is a chain of circular chain of the processes. Process 1 is waiting for this process, process 1 is waiting for the resource R1, then process 2 is waiting for the resource R3, etc. Okay, so that is what the circular wait that we will see in detail. So now let's start. So first condition is what? Mutual exclusion. So by these conditions, there must exist at least one resource in the system which can be used by only one process at a time. So if any shareable resource is there, then that resource should be used by the one process at a time. So if there exists no such resource, then deadlock will never occur. If shareable resource is not there, then no deadlock is there. Okay. Here, the printer is the example of the resource that can be used by only one process at a time. Is it possible that there are 5 processes and 5 processes can use the printer at the same time? So, printer will print the one print from the one process and another print from the another process? No, that is not possible. So, printer first will print the entire document of the process 1, then it will print the entire document of the process 2. Okay, so we can say the printer is the shareable resource. So here you can see in this diagram, there's a process 1 has assigned the resource 1. So here a single instance of the resource 1 and it is held by the process 1 only. No any other process can acquire the resources while the process 1 is executing. So here you can see the resource 1 is assigned to the process 1. Now next condition is hold and wait. Okay, so by this condition, there must exist a process which holds some resource and waits for the another resource held by some other process. Okay, so here that means what? The process have the resources and still it is waiting for the another resources. So for example, process 2 holds the resource 2 and the resource 3 and it is acquiring the resource 1 which is held by the process 1. So let's see. So here you can see in this figure, there's a process 2 has acquired the resource 2 and resource 3. But now still it wants the resource 1 that is acquired by the process 1. So this is what the hold and wait condition. Process have the resources, still it want the more processes. So more resources. So that is known as the hold and wait condition. Then next is a no preemption. So what is the meaning of the no preemption? Once the resource has been allocated to the process, it cannot be preempted. Okay, it means the resource cannot be snatched forcefully from the processes. And we cannot give that resource to the other processes. Okay, so the process must release the resource voluntarily by itself. Until and unless process will not release the resources, we cannot allocate that resources to the any other process. So no preemption is that. So here you can see in this diagram, process 2 cannot preempt the resource 1 from the process 1. It will only be released when the process 1 relinquishes, that means it will finish its works voluntarily and after its execution is complete. So after execution is complete or otherwise process 1 release voluntarily, then and only then we can assign this resource 1 to the process 2. Otherwise, we cannot assign the resource 1 to the process 2. So process 2 must have to wait until and unless it gets the resource 1. Okay, so this is what the no preemption. Now, next condition is the circular wait. Okay, so by this condition, one process is waiting for the resource which is held by the another process, that means second process, which is also waiting for the resource which is held by the another process, that means the third process. So this will continue until the last process is waiting for the resource that is held by the first process. Okay, so here you can see there is a chain. One is waiting for the resource that is held by the second. Second is waiting for the resource that is held by the third. And third is waiting for the process that is again held by the process 1. So this forms a circular chain. Okay, so the circular chain is known as the circular wait. So let's assume that there are three processes P1, P2 and P3. Okay, three processes are there P1, P2 and P3. There are three different resources are there R1, R2 and R3. Okay. Now R1 is assigned to the P1, R2 is assigned to the P2 and R3 is assigned to the P3. Now let's see. After some time, what will happen? After some time, P1 demands for the R2 which is held by the P2 process. Then what will be the scenario? P1 halts its execution since it can't complete without the R2. So P1 will suspend all its work until and unless the P1 will get the resource R2. P2 also demands for the R3 which is being used by the P3. Okay, and P2 also stops its execution because it cannot continue without the R3. Now, after some time, P3 also demands for the R1. So, which is being used by the R1. Thereafter, P3 also stops its execution. So, each and every process have stops their execution. Okay, no any process will progress further. Why? Because they require another resources and they have the resources held by that particular process. So what is the scenario? Let's see. So here you can see these three resources are there R1, R2 and R3 as we have discussed. Then three processes are there, that is the P1, P2 and P3. Now these resources are assigned to these particular process, that is P1, P2 and P3. Now P1 wants the resource R2. Okay, so P1 suspends its execution. P1 can't do the progress further. Now again P2 required the resource R3, again that is held by the process P3. Okay, and here again P3 wants the resource R1. So what will happen? Here you can see circular wait is there. Each and every process is waiting for the another process. Okay, so that is what the circular wait. Okay, so this forms the circular wait. So this is what this lead to the deadlock. So in this scenario, cycle is being formed among the three processes. None of the process is progressing and they are all in the waiting state. Okay, so that means what the computer becomes unresponsive since all the process got blocked. So this is also the another scenario of the deadlock occurrence. Now here just note this, all these four conditions must hold simultaneously for the occurrence of the deadlock. This is the first one. Now and second is what? If any of these conditions fail, then system can be ensured that deadlock free. Okay, so if this four conditions should be there for the occurrence of the deadlock, and if any of the conditions will fail, then the system is deadlock free. Now, next we will see which are the types of the resources. Basically, there are two types of resources, which are one is a reusable and second is a consumable. So as the name suggests, reusable, that means you can reuse it again, and consumable, that means you cannot reuse it again. It consumes once only. So let's see. So here, first resource is what? Reusable resources. That means these resources are the reusable. That means if they can be used again after the process is done using them. So which are the reusable resources? For example, memory, printer, tape driver, processors, input-output channels, main and secondary memories, files, database. These all are the reusable resources because you can use those resources again and again. You can use the printer, okay, to print something. The day after tomorrow also you can use the printer. Then also you can use the printer. So these resources are there as it is. You can use that resources again and again. So that is what the reusable resources. The next is the consumable resources. Consumable resources, that means what? Resources that can be used only once. So only once you can use such resources. After that the resources are destroyed. So which are the example of this? So that is the hardware interrupt, unique signals, messages and information in IO buffer. These all are the example of the consumable resources. So that means what? It consumes once only. Now next is resource allocation graph. In last lecture also we have discussed about the request age and this assignment age also. So that is also in detail in this resource allocation graph. So let's see. The resource allocation graph is the pictorial representation of the state of the system. Okay, so as its name suggests, the resource allocation graph is the complete information about the processes which are being holding some resources or waiting for some resources. As we have seen the example in the circular way, there are three processes, three resources are there. Okay, so they are holding one resource and they are requesting another resource. So that is also the example of the resource allocation graph. Okay, so here you can see the resource allocation graph is or the pictorial representation of the state of the system. So that is known as the resource allocation graph. It also contains the information about all the instances of the resources, whether they are available or being used by the processes. Okay, so if the resource is available, then no edges from that resource to any process. And if there is any edge from resource to any process, that means that resource is used by the any other system. In the resource allocation graph, the process is represented by the circle while the resource is represented by the rectangle. Now here types of the vertices, as we have discussed in the last lecture also, the vertices are mainly of the two types, that is the resource and process. Okay, so each of them will be represented by the different shape. Circle represent the process while rectangle represent the resource. Okay, so a resource can have more than one instance. Each instance will be represented by a dot inside the circle. So for example, if resource R2 have the five instances, then we can do the 5 dots in that particular resource. That means that our 5 resources is available of the R2 type. So here you can see the types of vertices, process vertex and resource vertex. Okay, so this process vertex is a P1, that is denoted by the rectangle, and resource vertex is defined using the square. Okay, so square or rectangle. So in it, if it is a single instance, then there is a just square, and if it is a multiple instance, then in that rectangle you can define this multiple dots, or you can do the solid square also. Now edges in RAG. Okay, so edges in RAG are also of the two types, which are assignment age and request age. Okay, so as a resource is shown that is assigned to a process. If the tail of the arrow is attached to the instance of the resource and the head is attached to the process. Okay, and a process is shown as a waiting for the resource if the tail of an arrow is attached to the process while the head is pointing towards the resource. Okay, that we have discussed in the last lecture also, assignment age and requesting age. So here you can see this is the types of the ages, that is the assignment age and request age. Here you can see this resource R1 is assigned to the P1. So ages from resource to P1, that means it is the assignment age, and ages from process to resource, that means it is a requesting age. Now here you can see again the process, the arrow from process to resource. So process is requesting for the resource, and here you can see the arrow from resource to process. So resource is assigned to the process. And here if we have the multiple instance of this particular resource, then you can draw a dot or solid square in this rectangle. So it means that we have the multiple resources of that particular resource. Okay, and you can assign to the processes, to the number of processes that require this type of resources. Okay, so in this video we have learned that the conditions that leads to deadlock, total 4 conditions that we have learned. Then we have seen the types of the resources, that is consumable and reusable resources, and last we have seen the resource allocation graph. Okay, so this is all about this lecture. Remaining interesting topic we will cover in the next lecture. Thank you for watching. We will meet in the next lecture. Thank you.